Yo, hoop fans, your sideline sage, Tips and Upstreams, is lacing up once again. On deck, deep dives into the freshest NBA clashes, ready to set the planks ablaze. But before we jump the ball, be sure to hammer that subscribe on our YouTube channel to keep hooked with our sharp forecasts and prime selections. All right, let's bounce into today's NBA Crystal Ball reads. The first prediction for today is for the game between New Orleans Pelicans and Orlando Magic. In the dynamic and fiercely competitive world of the NBA, the much-anticipated showdown at the Kia Center between the New Orleans Pelicans and the Orlando Magic is creating quite a stir, promising to be an electrifying encounter. Both teams are hitting their stride at the perfect time, with the Pelicans securing notable wins against the Clippers, Trailblazers, and Nets, while the Magic have conjured victories over the Nets, Raptors, and Hornets, setting the stage for a clash of titans. The Pelicans are in formidable form, racking up an average of 116 points on 48.9% shooting, while holding their opponents to 110.7 points on 45.9% shooting. Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram have been instrumental, powering a high-octane offense that shines in true shooting percentage and precision from downtown. Their sixth-ranked defense has been equally dominant, particularly effective at disrupting three-point shots and curbing attempts at the rim, a chaos set against a Magic squad that excels inside but falters from the outside. Conversely, Orlando brings to the court a stellar fourth-ranked defense, excelling in forcing turnovers and snagging defensive rebounds. However, their offensive game, particularly their 23rd-ranked offensive rating and a scarcity of three-point sharpshooters, might be their weak spot. Paolo Banchero's standout performances have been notable, but the team's focus on inside scoring might falter against the Pelicans' solid perimeter defense. A look at recent matchups at the Kia Center shows that home advantage and defensive prowess often steer the game's direction. In this light, the Pelicans' offensive versatility and stringent defense, both in the paint and beyond the arc, afford them a slight advantage. Moreover, their track record as resilient road favorites against Eastern Conference teams contrasts with the Magic's struggles, particularly as underdogs following a home win. Considering the impact of playing back-to-back games, a factor always crucial in the NBA, the depth and endurance of both teams will be under the microscope. Yet, the Pelicans' balanced approach and defensive strength seem poised to thrive in the intense showdown. With the odds favoring the New Orleans Pelicans by a 1-point spread and the over-under total points set at 210, the prediction tilts towards the Pelicans not only beating the spread but also keeping the total points under. Their defensive skill, combined with offensive efficacy, is likely to dictate the game's tempo and restrict the Magic's scoring chances, especially from the three-point line. In summary, anticipate the New Orleans Pelicans to secure a win in this tight contest, harnessing their defensive capabilities and offensive firepower to surpass the spread. The total points are expected to remain below the 210-point mark, underscoring the defensive rigor and strategic execution that will characterize this face-off. Although I appreciate the Magic's home court prowess, my pick is on the New Orleans Pelicans to clinch the victory. The next prediction for today is for the game between Sacramento Kings and Washington Wizards. Tonight's battle at the Capital One Arena is gearing up to be an epic showdown of destiny's whims. The Sacramento Kings, buoyed by a streak of triumphant victories, are set to clash with the Washington Wizards, a squad in the throes of a quest for rhythm. Boasting an impressive 40-28 tally, the Kings are carving out their dominion in the Western Conference, recently flaunting their might in a dazzling victory over the Raptors. Their scoring prowess, steered by De'Aaron Fox's stellar 26.8 points per game and Domantas Sabonis's consistent double-doubles, has been the linchpin of their ascent. Despite sidelining talents like Sasha Vezenkov, Kevin Huerter, and Trey Lyles, Sacramento's bench strength has shown through, clinching 6 victories in their last 8 games. Conversely, the Wizards find themselves embroiled in a grim struggle, anchored at the nadir of the Eastern Conference with a grim 11-58 record. Their defensive lapses, conceding an average of 124.2 points per game, have spiraled them into a 5-game skid. Kyle Kuzma's valiant scoring effort of 22.4 points stands as a lone beacon in a season marred by challenges. The team's lengthy injury roster, featuring names like Isaiah Livers, Bilal Coulibaly and Denny Avdija underscores the depth hurdles hampering Washington's campaign. The showdown's dynamics forecast a decisive edge for Sacramento, bolstered by an outstanding road record against the spread, 20-13-1, and a knack for dismantling teams with losing streaks. Ranked 8th in offensive efficiency and with a slight edge in three-point precision, the Kings are tipped as the favorites. Their recent performances against Eastern Conference foes, paired with the Wizards' faltering attempts to beat the spread in their role as underdogs post-loss, amplify Sacramento's prospects. Despite Washington's top-speed gameplay, their lack of scoring potency and defensive clout are loopholes the Kings are primed to leverage. Sacramento's adeptness at dictating the game's pace and exploiting their offensive arsenal suggests a scoreboard blitz, yet not enough to eclipse their supremacy. In the electrifying atmosphere of the Capital One Arena, the Sacramento Kings have historically had the upper hand over the Washington Wizards, especially when the Wizards have shown signs of struggle. With both squads currently on divergent paths and considering their statistical edges, including their prowess in spread betting and recent victories on the road, the Kings are not only anticipated to secure a win, but also to surpass the expected margin. However, I'm steering clear of placing bets on this game. The Kings have been on fire away from home, showcasing the best net rating in their last 5 road encounters, whereas the Wizards have been on a downward spiral, recording the worst home net rating in the league over a similar time frame. My experience in the realm of sports analytics and betting has taught me a valuable lesson. Matchups between the top contender and the lowest-ranked team often unfold in unexpected ways. While all signs might point towards a dominating victory for the Kings, including covering the spread, I've learned to approach such games with caution. This is one showdown where my money stays in my pocket. The next prediction for today is for the game between Chicago Bulls and Houston Rockets. In a high-octane NBA clash, the Chicago Bulls gear up to take on the Houston Rockets at the Toyota Center in a game that could be a turning point for both squads as they make their push in the season's homestretch. Coming off a mixed bag of results, with wins against the Trailblazers and Wizards, but a slip-up against the Clippers, the Bulls are aiming to cement their place in the league standings. The duo of DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, known for their explosive plays, leads Chicago's offense. Despite showing moments of brilliance, their scoring game has lacked steadiness, placing them 23rd in the league by netting an average of 112 points per game. Defensively, the Bulls have stepped up, especially in guarding the arc and curtailing the opposing team's chances on the offensive glass. On the flip side, the Houston Rockets are on a roll with 6 straight victories, flaunting a high-scoring offense that has recently breached the 130-point mark in games. With Jalen Green lighting up the scoreboard and Fred VanVleet's crafty assists, the Rockets have been racking up an average of 113.6 points on 46% shooting, though their shooting precision, especially from three-point land, could use some polish. Their defense has been formidable, excelling at thwarting three-point shots and securing the paint. When it comes to matchups in Houston, the Rockets have consistently had the edge, beating the spread in their last 8 encounters with teams from the East at home. This streak, combined with their current form and the Bulls' erratic performance, gives the Rockets a slight advantage in this showdown. Furthermore, the Bulls' struggle to score in the paint might hit a wall against the Rockets' robust paint defense. Injuries might also tilt the scale in this game. With Alex Caruso's participation for the Bulls in question, their perimeter defense could weaken, potentially giving the Rockets, and their sharpshooters like Green and VanVleet, openings to puncture the Bulls' defense. Both teams have shown they can score big, hinting at a shootout. With the over-under set at 216 points, and considering both teams' recent scoring runs, especially the Rockets, the total score is likely to exceed the set margin. In essence, with the Rockets in fine form, their statistical superiority in shooting, rebounding, and defense, plus the home court and historical dominance over Eastern teams, suggest they're set to continue their streak. The Bulls' unpredictability and their status as road underdogs on a Thursday, traditionally a high-scoring day for them, suggests a score-heavy game, but not a win. Prediction: expect the Houston Rockets to triumph and beat the 3-point spread, with the total score surpassing the 216-point threshold. This match is set to spotlight the Rockets' rising stars and their playoff ambitions, harnessing their offensive and defensive prowess to outmatch the Bulls. My money's on the Rockets to clinch the win and cover the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Brooklyn Nets and Milwaukee Bucks. As the Brooklyn Nets lace up to clash with the Milwaukee Bucks at the Fiserv Forum, we're on the brink of an NBA face-off that's way more than your average regular season game. The Nets, having hit a bit of turbulence with 6 defeats in their recent 7 games, are itching to flip the script on their losing narrative, while the Bucks are bouncing back from a nail-biter against the Celtics, cranking up the stakes for this Eastern Conference showdown. Lately, Brooklyn's game has been a bit off the mark, with the squad struggling to sync up, notably in their latest skirmish with the Pelicans, where they only managed to net 36% of their shots. Cam Thomas, Mikal Bridges, and Dennis Schroeder have stepped up as the offensive linchpins, yet finding a steady groove remains elusive. Conversely, the Bucks, with Damian Lillard's sniper-like accuracy and Bobby Portis's steadfast presence, have shown a gritty resilience in the face of their hurdles. Their knack for keeping the scoreboard ticking, especially from downtown, will be key in this face-off. Digging into the stats, the Bucks emerge as the offensive juggernaut, notching a higher points-per-game average than the Nets. This scoring prowess, alongside their staunch track record at home against Eastern foes post-loss, tips them as the frontrunners. However, the Bucks' recent back-to-back games might spell fatigue, possibly dulling their edge, especially hot on the heels of their bout with the Celtics. The history books favor the Bucks in their recent Fiserv Forum face-offs, potentially giving them a mental edge. However, it's crucial to highlight the Nets' knack for stepping up against teams winding down from a back-to-back, potentially evening out the contest. Injury updates are set to play a crucial role in the endgame, with both squads needing their aces fighting fit to clinch a victory. The Nets capitalizing on the Bucks' potential post-back-to-back weariness could be their ace in the hole, possibly even snagging an upset. Eyeing the stats, the Bucks' edge in shooting efficiency and rebound control generally swing the odds in their favor. Yet, the Nets' potential to clamp down on a weary Bucks defense shouldn't be shrugged off. With all these factors in play, including the Bucks' stronghold at home and the Nets' dogged determination against back-to-back teams, calling the shots gets tricky. Nevertheless, the Bucks' sharpshooting and home advantage are big plays not to be sidelined. Despite this, the Nets' underdog bite and the Bucks' potential energy dip hint at a tighter clash than expected. Wrapping up, while the Bucks might clinch the win, the grind of their recent schedule coupled with the Nets' drive to snap their losing streak could see Milwaukee sweating to beat the 10.5-point spread. Expect the Nets to mount a gutsy challenge, banking on their strengths against a possibly spent Bucks team. Betting-wise, putting your chips on the Brooklyn Nets to beat the spread looks savvy, with total points likely ducking below the 222.5 threshold, given the defensive hustle and possible fatigue in play. My money's on the Brooklyn Nets to beat the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Utah Jazz and Dallas Mavericks. In an electrifying late-season clash that's turning heads for various reasons, the Utah Jazz are gearing up to take on the Dallas Mavericks at the American Airlines Center. This game is a melting pot of compelling storylines, standout player performances, and tactical nuances expected to sway its direction. The Jazz are navigating through choppy waters, having recently squared up against tough competition and coming up short against the Timberwolves and Thunder, but they did notch a win against the Hawks. Boasting an offensive average of 117.2 points on 47% shooting, their scoring prowess stands out, even as they grapple with defensive lapses, allowing 120.6 points on 48.5% shooting. The squad leans heavily on Lauri Markkanen's average of 23 points and Colin Sexton's impactful play. Yet, coming off a back-to-back game against the Oklahoma City Thunder and possibly missing Markkanen, their bench strength and resilience are in the spotlight. Meanwhile, the Dallas Mavericks are surfing a high after toppling the Nuggets and Spurs, flaunting their scoring ability with an average of 118.7 points on 48.2% shooting. Spearheaded by Luka Doncic's top-notch scoring and Kyrie Irving's timely heroics, they present a dynamic threat. Their strategy benefits greatly from Daniel Gafford's stellar field goal efficiency. A deep dive into the numbers shows the Mavericks excel in reducing opponent blocks and keeping a steady stream of three-point shots, underscoring their preference for a perimeter-driven offensive game. In contrast, the The Jazz's defensive figures, particularly regarding opponent assists and blocks, expose weaknesses the Mavericks can leverage. A historical glance at their showdowns in Dallas sheds light on patterns that lean towards the Mavericks, especially given their current momentum and the Jazz's road game woes. The Jazz's track record in back-to-back games adds another layer of challenge, often affecting their vigor and effectiveness. This matchup heavily favors the Dallas Mavericks. Their sharpshooting, especially from downtown, and overall field goal efficiency against the Jazz's porous defense suggests a clear edge. Moreover, their prowess in snagging defensive rebounds is key to dictating the game's flow and cutting down on the Jazz's second-chance points. Injuries and player availability, particularly regarding Markkanen's condition and the impact of Collins's recent injury, are pivotal aspects that could further skew the balance. With the Jazz potentially easing their stars' minutes due to playoff considerations, their offensive depth and options dwindle. Considering the stats, team chemistry, and this game's strategic significance for the Mavericks' playoff chase, the forecast leans towards a decisive Dallas victory. The Mavericks' star caliber, tactical sophistication, and recent form not only set them up for a win, but also to surpass the 12.5-point spread comfortably. The total points are anticipated to exceed expectations, given both teams' offensive leanings and current trends, with the Mavericks setting the pace and clinching a commanding win. My money's on the Dallas Mavericks to triumph and beat the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between New York Knicks and Denver Nuggets. Tonight's showdown at the Ball Arena features a sky-high New York Knicks team clashing with the solid Denver Nuggets, spotlighting the NBA's primetime lineup. The Knicks are on a roll, having secured victories against formidable teams like the 76ers, Trailblazers, Kings, and Warriors, while the Nuggets have shown their strength by overcoming the Timberwolves and Spurs, despite a slip against the Mavericks. The Knicks have been dazzling on offense, averaging 112 points per game with a 46.1% field goal rate, and their defense has kept rivals at bay with only 107.9 points allowed on a 46.7% shooting rate. Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle are leading this onslaught, with Brunson dropping an average of 27.6 points and Randle contributing 24 points a game. Despite OG Anunoby's injury worries, the Knicks have displayed depth and resilience, notably in their triumph over the Warriors. On the other side, the Nuggets command respect, posting an average of 114.7 points per game at a 49.6% shooting accuracy. Nikola Jokic continues to dominate the court, averaging 26 points and 12.3 rebounds, with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. providing substantial support. Their depth and clutch performance shone through in a nail-biter win against the Timberwolves, proving their championship caliber. Looking at their previous encounters in Denver, the Nuggets have historically held the upper hand, especially at the Ball Arena, where they've consistently outperformed the Knicks. Coupled with their superior shooting efficiency and rebounding capabilities, the Nuggets seem to have the edge. However, the Knicks' recent performances and their knack for overturning expectations, including a remarkable win against the Nuggets earlier this season and their strong showings on the road, demand attention. Injuries and player availability, especially Anunoby's participation for the Knicks and the Nuggets squad's health, will be pivotal. The Nuggets' home advantage and statistical edge point to them as favorites, but the Knicks' determination and recent shock victorias suggest they could defy the odds, particularly with the bookmakers' 10-point buffer. All things considered, including home versus away dynamics, the historical rivalry in Denver, and current momentum, expect a nail-biting contest. While the Nuggets are poised for a victory on their turf, the Knicks' recent form and spirited fight hint at a game closer than the 10-point spread suggests. Anticipate a close call on the total points, with a slight inclination towards an over on the 209.5-point threshold, given both teams' scoring prowess. In summary, anticipate a victory for the Denver Nuggets in a battle that showcases their stronghold and depth at home. Yet the New York Knicks, energized by their recent victories and Brunson's standout displays, are likely to challenge the spread, setting the stage for a high-scoring thriller that underlines the best each team has to offer. The last prediction for today is for the game between Atlanta Hawks and Phoenix Suns. At the Footprint Center in the heart of Phoenix, a riveting NBA clash is about to go down as the Atlanta Hawks lock horns with the Phoenix Suns. The anticipation for this matchup is sky-high, considering both teams' recent forms and their historical showdowns. Expect a spectacle of strategic maneuvers and individual showstoppers. Lately, the Hawks have been a mixed bag, clinching a victory against the Clippers yet stumbling against titans like the Lakers and Jazz. Their offensive firepower is on full display with an average of 119 points per game, but defensive gaps have led to them allowing around 121.1 points. Stars like DeJounte Murray and Bogdan Bogdanovic are pivotal for the Hawks, injecting much-needed scoring energy. Yet, a recent thumping by the Lakers highlights their Achilles heel in shooting precision and defensive grit. Meanwhile, the Suns, powered by luminaries such as Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, are in fine fettle, especially in shooting accuracy, dominating in both field goals and beyond the arc. Despite a hiccup against the Bucks, they've proven resilient, making the most of their home advantage and squad depth. Averaging 116.9 points at a stellar 49.4% shooting accuracy, their attack strategy is both balanced and deadly. Historically, when these two titans clash in Phoenix, the Suns usually have the upper hand, especially on their turf. This edge, coupled with their sharpshooting and rebounding prowess, tips the scale in their favor. However, the Hawks are not to be underestimated, leading the league in offensive rebounds, showcasing their grit. Considering the recent form of both teams in Phoenix, along with their season stats and injury impacts, the Suns seem to have a slight advantage, particularly with their shooting finesse and home dominance. Yet, the Hawks' never-say-die attitude and the Suns' recent spread-covering struggles inject a dose of unpredictability. With the Suns' statistical superiority in shooting metrics and home court prowess, they're pegged as the frontrunners. However, considering the Hawks' resilience and the Suns facing a potential back-to-back game fatigue, expect a nail-biter. The Suns are tipped for the win, but the Hawks, with their knack for clutch plays and scoring against the odds, are likely to keep it closer than anticipated. The prediction leans towards the Atlanta Hawks beating the 10-point spread. In summary, while the Suns' elite shooting and strategic home court advantage make them the probable winners, the stage is set for a closely fought battle, with the Hawks poised to give them a run for their money. Given the dynamics at play, including the Suns' tight schedule and the Hawks' rebounding vigor, the Hawks are tipped to beat the spread in a scoring spree, likely to exceed expectations. My wager is on the Atlanta Hawks to beat the 10-point spread.